everyone. In this class we will look at the pharmacology of the first category of drugs that are used in the treatment of CHF, that are inotropic drugs. So this includes a class of drugs called cardiac glycosides, and digoxin is a cardiac glycoside which alone is being used clinically in the treatment of CHF currently. So cardiac glycosides, these are glycosidic drugs having cardiac inotropic property. Inotropic means it affects the force of contraction of the heart. So they increase myocardial contractility and output. So these cardiac glycosides, they increase myocardial contractility and output in a hypodynamic heart, that is low functioning, or the heart that is not functioning properly or up to the mark. In such conditions, they increase the myocardial contractility, which is very essential in heart failure, and also output. But along with this, they do not cause an increase in oxygen consumption. So even though output is increased and contractility is increased, the oxygen consumption is remaining normal. So thus the efficiency of the failing heart is increased with the help of these drugs. So digoxin is the only cardiac glycoside that is currently being used. So digoxin is a very narrow therapeutic window drug. So what does that mean? Narrow therapeutic window means the drug, if the dose of the drug or the concentration of the drug in blood, even if it is slightly altered, it might cause severe adverse effects. So the safe therapeutic window of this drug is very small. So once that even slightly the dose of the drug or blood concentration of the drug changes, it can result in severe adverse effects. So digoxin is one such drug, and we know that drugs with narrow therapeutic window should be monitored while the patient is taking those drugs through therapeutic drug monitoring. Coming to the mechanism of action of digoxin, digoxin produces three effects, that is hemodynamic effects and electrophysiological effects and neurohormonal effects on cardiovascular system. So it inhibits sodium potassium ATPase enzyme, because of which its beneficial effects can be seen. So this sodium potassium ATPase enzyme is responsible for maintaining the intracellular sodium and potassium levels, and because of which indirectly it also controls the calcium levels, intracellular calcium levels. So when this sodium potassium ATPase enzyme is inhibited by digoxin, that results in an increase of intracellular sodium and increase of calcium levels in myocardial cells, that is cardiac cells, and then this results in increased contractile force of the heart. So in heart failure we have seen that contraction is reduced. So because of this action, it increases the contractile force of the heart, which improves the left ventricular ejection fraction. So left ventricular ejection fraction is nothing but ejection, that is pumping out. So left ventricular ejection fraction is a measure which helps to indicates the amount of blood that is being pumped out by the left ventricle during each heartbeat. So this because of this action, the left ventricular ejection fraction is increased. The next effect of digoxin is it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system through vagus nerve, because of which this results in SA node and AV nodal effects, and because of which the heart rate is reduced. So part of pathophysiology of heart failure includes neurohormonal activation, which leads to increase in norepinephrine. So through this action, digoxin helps to reduce the norepinephrine levels through the activation of parasympathetic nervous system. So these are the two main effects by which digoxin acts in the heart failure. digoxin are very important because it is a narrow therapeutic window drug. So oral absorption of digoxin is up to 60 to 80%. Plasma protein binding is 25%, and its onset of action is seen after 15 to 30 minutes, and peak is seen at 2 to 5 hours, and the duration of action is 2 to 6 days. Coming to its T-half, plasma T-half is 40 hours, and then the therapeutic concentration is 0.5 to 1.4 nanograms per ml, and then the toxic concentration is more than 2 nanograms per ml. So we see that there is only 0.6, almost 0.5 to 0.6 range, after which it becomes toxic. So that is the reason why it is called a narrow therapeutic index drug. And then the daily maintenance dose is 0.125 to 0.5 mg, and then the elimination, daily elimination is 35%. And then the route of elimination is renal. Predominantly it shows renal excretion. And then the route of administration can be both oral and IV. So its T-half is prolonged in elderly patients and those with renal insufficiency. So we see that its elimination is through renal route primarily. So if the patient is a patient with some renal insufficiency or renal failure, in such patients its elimination is reduced. So what happens when elimination is reduced? Its concentration in the blood increases, which can result in serious toxicity, because of which the same similar effect is seen even in the elderly patients, because of which the dose has to be reduced in patients who are elderly as well as who have renal insufficiency. The adverse effects of digitalis, as we have seen, toxicity of digitalis is very high and the margin of safety is very low. That is, its therapeutic index is only 1.5 to 3. So higher cardiac mortality has been reported among patients with steady state plasma concentration of digoxin with more than 1.1 nanograms per ml, even though this level is within the therapeutic range during maintenance therapy. So about 25% of the patients develop one or the other toxic symptoms while on digoxin therapy. So the main manifestations of these symptoms are both extracardiac effects can also be seen, cardiac effects can also be seen. So extracardiac effects include anorexia, nausea, vomiting and abdominal pain are usually reported first. They occur because of gastric irritation and mesenteric vasoconstriction and CTG stimulation. So because of this, we can see these effects in these patients, and along with that, fatigue, malaise, headache, mental confusion, restlessness, hyperapnea, disorientation, psychosis and visual disturbances are also seen. Skin rashes and gynecomastia are also seen in very rare conditions. Coming to the cardiac effects, almost every type of arrhythmia can be produced by digitalis. So they include pulses, bigeminous, nodal and ventricular extrasystoles, ventricular tachycardia, terminally ventricular fibrillation, partial to complete AV block may be the sole cardiac toxicity, or it may accompany along with other arrhythmias. Severe bradycardia, atrial extrasystoles, atrial fibrillation or atrial flutter can also be seen. And in about 2/3 of the patients showing toxicity, extracardiac symptoms precede cardiac symptoms. So extracardiac symptoms are seen before cardiac symptoms are seen in these patients. So in the rest serious cardiac arrhythmia, so in most 2/3 of the patients, first extracardiac symptoms are seen, then the patient slowly develops cardiac symptoms. But in the remaining patients, serious cardiac arrhythmias are the first manifestation. So in the remaining patients, first itself severe cardiac arrhythmias are directly seen. contraindications. Because digoxin is a narrow therapeutic index drug, the patient should be kept on therapeutic drug monitoring. Along with that, several precautions have to be followed, and also there are several contraindications in terms of digoxin therapy. The first one is hypokalemia. So if the patient is having hypokalemia, it enhances digitalis toxicity. So that is the first contraindication. Elderly, renal and severe hepatic disease patients, because the elimination of digoxin is reduced in these categories, the chances of toxicity are increased. So these patients are more susceptible to digoxin toxicity, because of which dose has to be reduced in such patients. And myocardial ischemia, severe arrhythmias are more likely to be seen in patients with myocardial ischemia. And thyrotoxicosis. So these patients are more prone to develop digitalis related arrhythmias. Myxedema, in these patients, digitalis is eliminated very slowly. So cumulative toxicity can occur. So digitalis elimination is very less, because of which the toxicity keeps on increasing, because the amount of drug in the body keeps on increasing. And then ventricular tachycardia, digitalis is contraindicated in these patients because it may precipitate ventricular fibrillation. And in patients with partial AV block, digitalis can cause complete AV block. And then acute myocarditis and Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. So these are the conditions in which digoxin or digitalis are contraindicated. Interactions. Digoxin interacts with several drugs. The first one of which is diuretics. So we know that diuretics cause hypokalemia, and hypokalemia precipitates digoxin toxicity. So because of which digitalis related arrhythmias also can occur. So when toxicity is happening, the adverse effects of digoxin are also seen. Because of which if a patient is on diuretics, in such patients, potassium supplements should also be given simultaneously, even before the therapy is start in a prophylactic manner. And then calcium synergizes with digitalis, which results in toxicity. So we have seen that what digitalis mechanism of action, calcium levels increase, because of which force of contraction increases. So that's how digitalis acts. So if the patient is taking calcium supplements, it synergizes, that is, it increases the effect of digoxin, because of which toxicity can again happen. And then quinidine, it reduces the binding of digoxin to tissue proteins as well as its renal and biliary clearance. It inhibits its binding to the tissues as well as it inhibits its excretion or clearance, because of which the plasma concentration of digoxin is almost doubled. This can result in severe toxicity. And then verapamil, diltiazem, captopril, propafenone, amiodarone, all these drugs also increase the plasma concentration of digoxin to various different extents. Adrenergic drugs, these can induce arrhythmias in patients who are taking digoxin or digitalis, and digoxin absorption may be reduced by metoclopramide, sucralfate, antacids, neomycin, sulfasalazine. Absorption of digoxin is increased by atropinic drugs including tricyclic antidepressants. Propranolol, verapamil, diltiazem and disopyramide, they may additively depress AV conduction and oppose the inotropic action of digoxin. And then succinylcholine, it can induce arrhythmias in digitalis patients.